Hello everyone, a slightly different video today. I'm incredibly happy to announce that this video is actually sponsored by HUION. HUION were super kind and they really surprised me when I emailed them asking for a KAMVAS 13 tablet for me to review, and they actually agreed to send me one. While this is of course a review on the tablet itself, I'd like to additionally say how much I appreciate the amazing customer service that I received from HUION in my email, specifically with Teresa from their marketing department. Right off the bat, I was excited to work with the company from the customer service that I received, and my experience with the tablet itself also really didn't disappoint. The tablet came with, of course, the tablet, but also a pen and a pen holder donut thing that holds 10 extra nibs for your pen. I will note here that I originally tried to pry open the lid of the pen holder, but you're actually meant to twist the top off the donut, and that's how it opens. So if you do end up getting a tablet like this for yourself, don't be like me and almost break the pen holder. Alongside the nibs is also a metal ring that you can use to take out the nib of your pen to replace it, which is great because in the past I've had to use my teeth for this in other tablets. This tablet also comes with a screen wipe and a glove. The glove fits me much better than tablet gloves usually do, but I personally find them annoying to wear, so I don't have a lot of use for it. If you find your hand sticks to your screen at all, the glove will save you from that. The tablet itself is very light and doesn't feel too expensive because of the plastic material that it's mostly made out of. But for me this is honestly a good thing because it makes me less scared to use it. The screen display itself I believe is 13.3 inches, which compared to my 10.5 inch iPad Air display is incredible to use. It really works for me and gives me plenty of room to work with when drawing. I think any smaller and I'd have some issues, so the KAMVAS 13 is in a perfect sweet spot for me when it comes to workspace size. The first thing I noticed when opening the box and getting everything out was how smooth and nice the pen felt to hold, and this is something I still think about when I use the tablet. The buttons on the pen are a little annoying as I press them accidentally, but I think this is mostly down to how I hold the pen and the fact that I need to swap the shortcuts to be the other way around to match how I'm used to drawing, so I wouldn't consider this a real negative feature. For reference, my pen is currently set to colour pick with one button and switch to the eraser and back to the pen with the other, which is perfect. I also want to mention how much of a lifesaver it is that this pen doesn't need charging. My Apple Pencil needs charging constantly and it really sucks all the motivation for art out of me as soon as I have to wait. I also bought a new non-screen tablet before I received the KAMVAS 13 because my previous one had broken a week or two before, and seeing that pen needed charging did fill me with dread a little bit. The pen is very light and smooth and feels incredibly natural to use. It also has 8,192 levels of pressure sensitivity to make your lines thinner and thicker based on the pressure you apply, and there is tilt support of up to 60 degrees. This tablet has 8 easily programmable shortcut buttons on the side, and my previous non-screen tablets have had these, but I've always been more comfortable with using the keyboard. Because this tablet has me so up close and personal to the art, with it being a screen, having buttons for undo and other shortcuts right by my screen has actually made a big difference for me, and hopefully I'll get around to programming all of the buttons soon as well. The tablet arrived in really good time. For reference, I first emailed HUION on the 3rd of July, it was shipped out around the 15th, and I received the tablet before the 20th of July. I assume this process would also be a lot quicker if you bought the tablet direct from the website. Most of those days were spent emailing back and forth with HUION as they sent me this tablet for free. Before I could set it up on my PC, I didn't want to wait and gave it a shot on a laptop. I plugged the cables in and downloaded the driver and it worked instantly, aside from the cable occasionally disconnecting, which gave me a blue HDMI disconnected screen. I found myself drawing all day on MS Paint with the tablet. Because of this small issue, I'd just say to be careful of the cable disconnecting if you are working in a way that means the cable will be moved around a lot, like when you have the tablet on your lap rather than on the stand. Though I'm not sure if this issue was just because the cable was new and kind of stiff from being curled up in the box. I'll talk more about the performance of the tablet itself, but first I'll talk about the setup once I finally got access to my PC again. I plugged all the cables in again and downloaded the driver, this time on my computer. The tablet worked amazingly, but unlike my laptop that had a built-in display rather than the separate monitor of my PC, I wasn't originally able to use both my tablet and my monitor. Luckily for me, my dad knows a lot about computers, and while for a few days I had to use the tablet as my main and only monitor and for drawing, we eventually figured out that I needed to buy a separate display cable for my monitor and use the HDMI port in my PC for the tablet. The only reason this was an issue is because my PC doesn't have 2 HDMI ports, and obviously HDMI is needed for the display of the tablet Because I couldn't use my monitor HDMI and the HDMI for the tablet, but the tablet absolutely needed a HDMI, I had to then buy a new display cable for my monitor, which could go into a different port on my PC and into my screen. I don't know the exact technical details because I stayed out of the way and let my dad fit it all in for the most part, but once the cables were all sorted, the tablet worked amazingly. Going into the tablet driver settings allows you to select which screen is your main workspace, that being the screen on your monitor or the screen on your tablet, and the main screen is where your cursor will show up when using the tablet. Besides the slight learning curve with getting the screens both up and running, this tablet has been incredible. As I briefly mentioned before, I also asked HUION if they could send me a stand, and I was given two options. I chose this stand, as the other one seemed more like a laptop stand which would make the tablet too high up for me to comfortably use. I was unsure about the different angles on this stand, but upon using it I found that the angles are so nice and natural to draw at that I forget you can take the tablet off the stand at all. That being said, it's also really fun to take the tablet away and sit with it on my lap like on my bed, and it's so much bigger and nicer to use than my iPad. Overall, the setup gave me a little trouble, but if you aren't using a PC with only one HDMI port then you'll be totally fine, and I know most people use laptops to draw anyway. Now that I've talked about the setup of the KAMVAS 13, let's talk about the tablet's actual performance. While I personally don't have a problem with this, for people who have a MacBook and want to use the KAMVAS 13 after hearing it's compatible with Apple, I will let you know that you do have to buy a separate USB-C cable to attach this tablet to your Mac. I'm not sure if I'm just mistaken, but it also appears that this cable needs to be the one that they sell specifically on the HUION website, as I've seen other reviews talk about how because the port on the tablet is quite deep, only the HUION cable actually fits, which is really annoying and something to note if you're a MacBook user. Be warned also that this cable is really expensive. The video I've linked below talks a little more about this and also shows someone having to use sandpaper on a regular USB-C cable to make it fit the tablet, which is wow. As well as this, I do believe you can also plug this tablet into certain phones and tablets, but I'd suggest doing your own research if this is something that interests you, because this isn't something that I know a whole lot about and I wouldn't want to give you the wrong information. I do also believe that if you buy something like this thing here, you can use it to plug in the normal 3-in-1 cable to your Mac. But again, I advise you to do your own research if this is something that you might need, so I don't set you up on the wrong path. As I said already, this tablet has been incredible. The reviews that I'd watched before mentioned a screen protector that needed to be peeled off before use, but I believe that this is only relevant for the 2020 version of the KAMVAS 13, as I don't think mine had this and I've never had to peel anything off. If you do get this tablet, be careful that you don't peel something that isn't meant to be peeled. The tablet screen is amazingly smooth with a nice paper-like feel, which makes drawing on it incredibly natural. This is something I find far superior to how my hand and pen would glide across the smooth screen of my iPad, which I've been previously using whenever I wanted a screen tablet kind of thing to draw on. I know that you can buy a paper screen protector for the iPad, but I've also heard that it wears down your pen nibs, so I've never been able to experience a paper-like feel digitally when drawing before I got this tablet. This doesn't mean that this tablet screen is scratchy and weird to draw on at all, however. In my opinion, it's a perfect midpoint between digital screen and natural paper feel. Due to its full lamination, this screen also has very minimum parallax, which is basically the distance between the pen nib and the screen, and you can see this if you look at it closely from the side. This means that your pen and the cursor on your screen match up really nicely and give your lines a lot of accuracy. I will mention that for about a week I was accidentally drawing with very different colours than what showed up on my main monitor. This is because I needed to go into the HUION tablet driver application and adjust my screen colours as I'm showing you now. I still haven't been able to get a particularly good match, but as I'm often colour picking from references I made with the colours from my monitor, I know they're correct, so I'm not as bothered. I also have been told that the monitor colours are likely more inaccurate than the tablet, so I do kind of trust the tablet colours on that. Once I managed to set my tablet up to also act as a second monitor, it's been very easy to use my mouse to drag tabs like Spotify and art programs between the screens, and I was happy to find that you can use the mouse on the tablet and don't just have to use the pen. I can't really think of anything else major to mention, though if you have any questions please do feel free to ask me in the comments. But other than that, I'll throw together a quick pros and cons list and gather my final thoughts. For pros, this tablet is very affordable. It is amazing quality for the price and feels very nice to draw on. Setup is very simple for the most part, but most importantly, once it's up and running, it's a really great tablet. The screen is a lovely paper-like texture and the pen is really nice to hold. It works very well as a screen tablet and I will definitely continue using it as my main tablet from now on. For the cons, I've seen people mention this before, so I will mention that the tablet does start to warm up on the top right corner for me. So if you get this tablet, you may have to be careful when spending a long time at once drawing, or just having it on when you're not using it. Other than this, the fact that I had to buy a whole new display cable because I don't have two HDMI ports on my PC was really annoying, and I'm confident that without the help of someone who knows a lot about computers, I'd never have been able to use the tablet. As well as this, the colours are a little bit annoying to adjust and to know if they're really accurate or not. As I mentioned before, also, if you're a laptop user, I've heard that the cable can disconnect quite often, and there's also the fact that Mac users need to buy a whole separate expensive cable just to use this tablet. Despite all these cons that honestly don't really apply to me, I would look more into them if I was on a laptop, but overall I would say that this is a great affordable option if you're looking for a screen tablet, and I would definitely recommend checking it out. Okay, that is my first ever review that I've made, so please go easy on me if it's not the best. But for anyone curious about the art that I made in the background, it is a poster involving my characters from Amoside, which is the animated series that I'm working on. But other than that, I don't really have a lot else to say. I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry that it isn't kind of my normal kind of video, but again, like I said, if you have any questions about this tablet or the art or anything at all, please let me know in the comments, and I will have some other videos up for you soon.